All right, in this session, we're going to be working with dates, but specifically, we're going to be looking at converting strings into dates. Now, why would we do that? Dates are a very special class of dimension that knows how to self-sequence and self-sort and can also be used in date functions. Essentially, they follow calendar dates, where strings do not. Let's say I had a data set that looks something like this. I have month. It's loaded as a string, that's ABC, that means a string. I have the year, which is loaded as a number. I've got a quarter that's loaded as a string. I've got these two things that look like accounting periods. Maybe they came out of the accounting department. One is a string. It's the year and the quarter, and the other is the year and the month, 2019, 01, 02, that January or February. That's the type of thing that very often accountants like to keep an accounting period in a field that looks like that. Those fields aren't date fields, and they can't be used like dates. And my advice to any user when they have a data set that looks like this is convert the string fields into an actual date and then use the date in all of your analysis. It's much easier to use than fooling around with string fields. Now, the easiest way to convert a string to a date is to recast the field itself as a date. I'll start with this one. This is a number, and it kind of looks like a date. It kind of looks like a year and a month. Well, let's see what happens if I just convert it to a date. And all I've done is click on that icon and click on date on the download. And sure enough, it converts to a date. It's now a date field. You can see the little calendar up there. And it's January 1st, February 1st, March 1st, and so on. Well, Tableau is smart enough to convert the number to a date. I wonder if it can convert this text to a date. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to convert that from a string to a date. And yes, Tableau is smart enough to make that conversion. It converted the date to January 1st, 2019. And that's the first day of the quarter. And we see that for January, February, March. The first day of the quarter is 1/1/2019. For April through June, it's April 1st, 2019, the first date of the quarter. Well, I'm just going to convert those back so that I can use these fields in the rest I wanted to show you today. Okay, but if you can do that, if you can convert the date or convert the string to a date just by recasting it, by all means do that and stop right there. It's the easiest thing that you could do. The other way of converting strings to dates, we're going to take a look at two different ways of doing that. The first is using a date function called date parse. And date parse looks like this. And I'm going to highlight it here. Date parse is a function that will convert a string to a date, and the format that you see here as the first argument of this function tells Tableau what you want to see the resulting date look like. So I've come into this date, and I've got in here a period, and the period is the accounting period we just looked at. Tableau is smart enough to convert it, but let's say it couldn't figure it out. I've got the year as the first four characters of the string and the quarter as the next two characters. Well, what I'd like to get a date that looks like year, followed by a dash, followed by two characters for the month, followed by a dash, followed by two characters for the date. And I'm going to convert that text period by taking the left four characters, and left is another function. All this says is starting at the leftmost of the string, take the number of characters I give you, And it's going to take left the period, the 4 characters. So it's going to get 2019 for those for those 4 characters. Then I'm going to put in the dash that I need right there. I'm going to concatenate that in. Then I'm going to add a case statement to get the right 2 characters, which are Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. The case statement says when those right 2 characters are Q1, I want 01 for January, but I want it as a text. It's enclosed in single quotes. When it's Q2, I want April or month 4, 04. Q3 would be July, and then Q4 would be October. And that closes the case statement, and that is followed by the dash. That's that dash right there, and the character 01 as a string once again, so that I've got the first of the month. And when I do that, the date is converted, and this is a real date. And I can look at that date now as January 1st, April 1st, July 1st, or October 1st. And they self-sequence, they self-sort, and I can use them in any sort of calculation. The other option that I've got, and if you remember what our data looked like, I had a couple of periods in here. I had a month, and it was a string. And I also had year, which is a number. And I want to convert that to a date. And I'm going to use a special function here, another function. And that function is called date. And date is a function, and all we have to do in a string format is give it in sequence. We give it the year, the month, and the date. Okay. And string str is a function that will convert that number of the year to a string. So it's going to convert 2019 to a string. And then I put in the dash, month, which is already a number, which is already a string. Sorry, it's already a string. So I put in the month, followed by a dash, followed by a 1. And Tableau will convert that to a real date. Now, I want to emphasize to you that it's really important whenever you're working with dates and you want to do like year-over-year calculations or year-to-date calculations, period-over-period calculations, to work with real dates. It's going to make your work so much easier.